I'm Erik Linask in the TMC newsroom here at CTIA 2010 in Las Vegas. And I'm talking now with Mike Costello, who's the COO of Zoomsafer. Mike, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
So I had a little chat with you guys yesterday, and maybe the interesting place to start is the origins of the company.
Right. So we're a young company. We have three founders. One founder, Matt Howard, is one of these, frankly, addicted crackberry type of guys. And he had gotten 2 reckless driving tickets in the course of a couple of months. And then one morning, he's coming out of his driveway, and he actually knocks his neighbor's kid off of his bike. Very fortunately, the kid wasn't hurt, but Matt had kind of an aha moment, and he realized that he needed help to make better decisions. He had a previous software company, so he was a sort of an entrepreneur in his own right, and decided to actually start the company. So we got together, talked about, what would an application look like, and put together the specs. And a little bit over a year later, we have commercial software in the market now that you can get from our website, a variety of stores, and through a number of different partners. So software for smartphones to prevent distracted driving.
That's fantastic, and fortunately the boy's all right.
Fortunately the boy's all right, and Matt was smart enough to realize that left to his own devices, he wasn't making good decisions. And we think this is applicable to lots of people in the United States. We're available all over North America right now. And that is that, Matt always says that when he was with his family, he made very good decisions about using his phone. But, left to his own devices, he was making bad decisions. And in the United States today, unfortunately, these devices are addicting, and they're very productive, and that's a great thing. The flip side of that coin is that there's a danger to all these things too. So we've built an application that we describe as helping you be safe, legal, and productive. And it's essentially a policy manager that you download to your phone, and you can configure it the way you want it to be to have a safe, legal, and productive driving experience. So on one hand, on one end of the spectrum, you can configure Zoomsafer to create sort of an abstinence environment, right? You're not tempted, there's no alerts that come to you, you're not told about anything. You can tell people that you're driving automatically so that you don't have to worry about them feeling like you haven't gotten back to them. All the way on the other end of the spectrum, you can also use the phone with minimum touches to the phone and using your voice to make and receive hands-free phone calls with our latest product release called VoiceMate. You can listen to your text messages and emails, reply to them, and then create ones to people on your contact list. So,
well, I think at some point most of us are probably been guilty of texting or dialing in the car. So who's this really targeted at?
Well, massively horizontal market, right? So we sort of generally divide the world up into young drivers and consumers on one end. In the middle, we have families and small businesses, and over here you've got enterprises. So employers are worried about this every day in the United States, all over the place. You as a prosumer may be interested in sort of taking more responsibility or changing the way you drive and your lifestyles, and certainly parents are worried about their kids who are just learning how to drive, and quite frankly are as addicted or more addicted to these devices as anybody is.
They sure are.
So very horizontal marketplace, and different approaches to each one of those market segments.
Let's talk a little bit more about the application. I know you've got it on your device. And
sure. Let me give you a little brief rundown of what we do here. So we're an application. Just wake my phone up. We're an application. It's an icon. You download it. It just takes a couple of minutes to sign up for it and register it. You can start the application manually, but the basic nature of it is when you download the application, we start a little applet in the background using the phone's GPS to sense when you drive above 15 miles an hour, or actually when the phone moves above 15 miles an hour. When it does do that, and we have access to your GPS, we'll auto-activate the safe driving services. So I'll do that right now. Okay, so there you go. There's by design, very little / nothing to see on here, because the whole nature of the application is we don't want you interacting with your eyes and your fingers with your phone. So I can press a few keys here. Your keypad's locked, your screen is locked, and now we're managing inbound and outbound communications for you. So no access with your eyes and your fingers to create and look at text messages and emails. For phone calls, by policy, you have your choice about inbound and outbound phone calls. So we allow you to make outbound phone calls if you want, but you have to use the phone's native voice dialer. So one touch button, right, and you can say call Mike Costello Mobile, and we use your phone's native services to do that. For inbound phone calls, we give you an option of, we call it all, some, or none. You can receive all phone calls. You can receive calls from only a white list of people. Everybody else goes straight to voicemail. Or you can configure it to receive no phone calls. For inbound text messages, emails, and unanswered phone calls, one of the easiest things to do that we found was very, very powerful, actually, was we auto-reply on your behalf to tell the person that's trying to get a hold of you that you're driving and focused on the road. One of the things that we found, and I've had this conversation 100 times with people, and you say, well, okay, so distracted driving is an issue, right? And they say, well, of course, right? And we say, do you text and drive? And they say, no, but I know somebody who does.
Yeah.
And then they kind of back up for a second. They say, well, you know, I do text and drive a little bit. And you say, well, so what do you do? And they say, well, you know, I mean, we have to get back to people. In this modern society, we feel like we have to be connected immediately. So I've heard this answer a million times. They say, well, I do text them to say that I'm driving and I'll get back to them later. So very simple little bit of context, but unanswered phone calls, emails, and text messages, we send an auto reply on your behalf, and the person who's trying to reach you knows that you're driving, and you'll get back to them. So all these messages land quietly on your phone. We don't interfere with the way the phone receives them or anything like that. You get to where you're going, you exit Zoomsafer, and everything's right there for you.
Oh, that's great stuff. One more time, where can people get Zoomsafer?
So currently right now it's available in several app stores and on our website, through our website, www.zoomsafer.com. We have a very active affiliate program, different organizations that are involved in safety and kids-related things, and then also fleet management services are selling on our behalf. They're partnering with us to sell and distribute Zoomsafer. Very active program with insurance carriers who are interested in the area and potentially looking for something that they can promote to their customers, as well as the wireless carriers themselves, who are starting to look at this and think about what their position's going to be.
Excellent. Certainly sounds like a worthy product to have out there.
Yeah, we think so.
I've been talking here at the CTIA in Las Vegas with Mike Costello from Zoomsafer. Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Nice to meet you.